Hey everyone, Kevin here. What I've got here is RetroPie. This is an amazing piece of software, and it's software that is designed for the Raspberry Pi that I've got here. This is a cool little system. It was about £40 for this, the case and the charger. It's got 4 USB ports, Ethernet port, HDMI port, 3.5mm headphone jack, and it's got the micro B for power. It's also got a micro SD card slot for storage. And RetroPie is designed specifically for this Raspberry Pi. What RetroPie is simply a way to play classic games. It can play pretty much any emulated game. More powerful consoles, perhaps the late 2000s, is probably not more powerful enough. It does struggle with certain systems apparently because of the power of the Raspberry Pi. So this is a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz with 1 gigabyte of RAM. But I'll just show you. I'm using the PlayStation 3 controller. Switch it on using the hotkey, and then find something, find the number 1, then I can control it. So essentially what this is Emulation Station at the front end. If you looked at my video of Emulation Station, you'll see it looks the same. Nice presentation at the front. For emulators, it uses MAME for all the classic arcade systems, and it uses RetroArch for all the console systems. And RetroPie just ties it all together. Now, installation of this is very, very simple. I'll show you this in another video. But in this video, I just want to quickly show you what this system can do and give you an idea of how you set it up when you first come on. Now, when you first turn this on, what I did was I took my PlayStation 3 USB cable, I plugged it in, and it was recognized right away. But it's not recognized as a controller when you take this out. It doesn't work wirelessly. So you need to connect it, using Bluetooth. And what you have to do is, when it's connected using the cable, so you'd be connected using the cable, you push start, and you'll come to the Emulation Station menu. You can see it down there, Emulation Station, and you go to Configure Input. Now, that's what you need to do to set up a new controller, but we're not there yet. That's what you do when you first put in the controller. So when you first plug in the cable, put in this PS3 controller or any controller you're using, and you go to Configure Input if it's not recognized right away. What you need to do though to register it wirelessly is, first, what you need to do is set up Wi-Fi. Now this is what I had to do. This is the process I had to do. And I've actually went through and installed, did this whole process twice. I've got a micro SD card coming in a few days and it'll be a third time. So I know this set up quite well now. What you need to do is connect to your Wi-Fi network. You set it up there. Once it's set up, you can then download driver files. So after that, well, for many different controllers, you can use Bluetooth. Using the Raspberry Pi, you can pretty much connect to any controller. It's very, very easy. All you have to do is either use Bluetooth with a modern controller, or you can use USB. There's 4 USB ports here. And for old classic controllers, there are many adapters that put, for example, a Nest to USB. So you can pretty much connect to any type of controller. Now you can go through here and see which controllers are connected. If I go to display registered, you'll see that one's there. But what I'm going to do just now is show you what you have to do to connect the PS3 controller and a few other controllers. So that's flashing there. For whatever reason it disconnected there for a second. I'll find it again. So there's options here you can see for audio, for themes, file manager, Raspberry configuration, RetroArch, that's for emulators. You've got the splash screens. There's lots of different splash screens at the start when you load it up. What I'm going to do is go into RetroPie setup. I'm hoping this is in focus. So to install the PS3 controller drivers, what you need to do is go down to Manage Packages, and you go to Manage Driver Packages, and then there is an option for PS3 controller, and you can see it's installed. There's other joysticks here as well: SNES Developer, Steam Controller, Xbox. I did try MK Arcade joystick, and for whatever reason, it stopped Bluetooth working. I couldn't control anything, and I had to reinstall RetroPie. So whatever reason, I had a problem with that one. but hopefully you guys don't. When you install that driver package for the PlayStation 3, once that has installed, you simply push the hotkey and it will connect wirelessly, and you don't have to rely on the cable anymore. And you can see here that I've got both controllers here set up. That will register as number 2, and you can register as many controllers as you want to your system. And I will talk about joysticks and controllers and things like that in another video, but for me, I think the PS3 controller is a good option. Many people use an Xbox controller, an Xbox One controller, PS4 controller, Wii U Pro. There's a lot of retro style controllers you can use as well, but I've been quite impressed with the PS3 because I think it was this one. It'd been on my shelf for 2 years, and I turned it on and it still had battery. And with my DualShock controllers for the PlayStation 4, I need to charge them every few days. I don't know if it's because these don't have DualShock, the vibration, the rumble, sorry. Okay, so talked about the boring part. What you would do though, set up Wi-Fi, you install the PS3 driver, and eventually what you need to do is, if you've configured your controller for a USB cable, you need to do it again, and you need to do it again like that. You saw, right, okay, I am messing that up. I'll escape. Can I escape? No? Right, okay. What I've done is messed that up, so I need to get back. Right, I've totally messed this up. That shows you need to be careful when you do this part. I'm just going to do this to get to the bottom. I'm going to go down to the bottom and I'll set up that controller again. So this is good because I do need to register it again now. It's very, very simple. So if a screen comes up, configure input. So I'm using the second controller here. So 2 gamepads detected. You hold down the button for the one you want to change, and there's the setup. Up, down, left, right, start, select, A, B, X, Y. You can see I've done this a few times. Now for the hotkey, I'm going to use the PlayStation button, and you'll see why in a while. I like the PS3 controller as well because it kind of feels like a SNES controller. It's got a good D-pad, and it's got all the buttons you need, and you can use the thumbstick for arcade games where you want that kind of joysticky feel. So it's quite good. So really, when you set it up the first time, you essentially, if you can map your controller, fine. But if it doesn't work wirelessly, you need to set up Wi-Fi. You need to download the PS3 driver for this particular joypad. Once it's the driver's there, you just need to push start and then configure input. Okay, boring stuff out the way. What is RetroPie all about? So I've done the boring part. Let's look at some games. You can see here I've got lots of arcade game systems. Capcom 1, 2, 3. And there's lots of classic games here. I can go back and forth like that as well. Now, most of these ones, they all use MAME. And you can configure the controls of MAME in a separate way from RetroArch. So essentially, when it comes to controls, you set up your buttons here in the main emulation station area. But once you're into an actual emulator, an actual game, you can configure the buttons in a different way. So for example, I could map the Mega Drive buttons A, B, and C there, or I could put them there, there, and there, or any way that I want. And you can do that in the game and change it any time. So these are all arcade systems. Lots from the 80s and 90s. Actually downloading those games is very easy. There's a lot of people who basically offer their images. So you can see the setup that they've got, and you just download the file and put it on your micro SD card. And that's it. The process is very simple. I'm on to the consoles here. I don't have all the consoles in this particular setup. This is a 27 gigabyte image. I'm going to be downloading one that's about 125 gigabytes or something. They'll have more consoles, Atari, Dreamcast, Saturn, things like that. I've got Game Boy Advance here, Game Boy Color, Neo Geo Pocket, Neo Geo, Nintendo, Super NES, Super Famicom, Nintendo 64, DS, Master System, Genesis 32X, PlayStation, PSP Portable, PC Engine and TurboGrafx, Virtual Boy, and we're at the settings area again. Kodi is there if you'd like to play movies and TV shows and put it all through the same setup. So let's play something fun. Now you can go up and down like that and it'll go fast. Doesn't smell like a page down thing, but once you go after a while, you'll start seeing the letters like that. And you can also push like a random. So overall, I'm very, very happy with this. It's a fantastic way to play all classic games. It works well. It's very easy to set up as well. I mean, I was prepared for lots of technical, you know, configuration files, terminals, and putting all these commands in. You don't need that. Just download one of the images out there. You can download the official image of RetroPie and just turn that down a little bit. It's very loud. You can download the official image and then just put ROMs on yourself. But I think it's a good way to get started. I would use one of the images that other people have offered online, and it gets you a great head start, and then you can just, you know, put in the ROMs of the games that you don't have yet. Never played this game before in my life. Never even heard of it, if I'm honest. So, when you're in a game, you can pause it just like you would in, you know, with the Mega Drive or Genesis, what I'm playing here. Now, if you remember the hotkey button, I'm going to push the hotkey button and then push square, and it loads up RetroArch. And you can do lots of things here. There's lots of settings and configuration options. You can load content, save your game and play it later. Got a quick menu here. You can see save state, state slot. Under here, most people will be using this for the controls, and you can see that you can map buttons to a different location. Here, I'd signed this one as the B button, and I've got it as B. A, I've got it as Y, but what I'd want that is X, because it doesn't make any sense to have A, B. I would prefer X. So now I've got A and B, and for C, I've got it as A button, that's right. So now I've got A, B, C instead of A, B, C. So again, you can set it up any way you want. I have to stress, I'm not an expert on this, and I'm still learning about how this all works, and I'm still troubleshooting certain things that don't work the way that I want it. For example, I've set up the Mega Drive controller where, you know, the controls are A, B, C. For me, that works out best for me, in my opinion. But I have found that once you've set it up and you come out and you come back in, those buttons aren't saving. So there must be a way somewhere to save the controls. Save core remap file. There'll be an option to save it, and I've not figured that out yet. Oh, there we go. Save game overrides, save core overrides. I'm not sure. So I'll figure that out. There's a lot of little things like that where I want to make sure it's working okay. The idea being, though, that once you have set up the controls, if it saves, then you don't have to do it again. Once you've got the button set up for your controller, for that emulator, for that system, and then it's done. You don't have to worry about it. So let's play a Super NES game, because I love that console. Super Ninja Boy, Super Off-Road. Now, when it loads up here, you'll see there's a push a button to configure. Now, see this screen here? I've brought this up. There's an option there. Anytime you load a game, it comes up, push the button to configure. You can change the default emulator here, choose different emulators. You can select emulator for ROM, all these different options. You don't have to go through this screen. This is only if you want to change something like the emulator or change some setting. But generally speaking, you don't ever have to go in this screen. It's only giving you the option to change the emulator. So for any reason, if a game wasn't playing particularly well with an emulator, you can push that configuration file, go into the options area, change which one is being, which emulator is being used, and then, right, 000 is my name. Yep, change the emulator and then you're good to go. But by and large, all the emulators that are default have been working well with me, so I've not had any problems with it whatsoever. It is a fantastic way to play games, and as I say, it's very easy to set up. I will do some more videos to show you guys, but me and my friend were using these PlayStation 3 controllers the other day. We were playing lots of classic games. We were playing some Mega Drive games. We played some arcade games. And I think we're going to get a lot of use out of it, because one of my main complaints about modern games for the PlayStation 4, for even the PlayStation 3 had a problem with it. There's very few properly, well-designed co-op games. Nearly all the games are one-player only, so we play FIFA a lot, we play games like that, the multiplayer. But if you look at games like Call of Duty, all these kind of things, they're really designed when you try multiplayer, it's all like multiplayer online. They're not multiplayer offline, like the way that, say, GoldenEye was back in the day where it was split screen. So there are some games out there that are co-op, but very few. And if you go back to all of these arcade game systems, these were all designed for systems that had 2 joysticks or 4 joysticks, and they were designed for people to play games together. So there's so many classic games out there that you can use. You can play games together with your friends. And, Final Fight, all the, Street Fighter games, all these classic games you can play together. Street Fighter is a bad example, actually, because, that's still a good 2-player game. You can see here, this was a 4-player system. Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, WrestleMania. You can see the configuration screens there, and it should disappear. It'll just load up again. There we go. Now, RetroArch, you'll see the options there, but I believe someone told me that to change the buttons in MAME, you need to use your keyboard, which I've got there, and the keyboard has to be registered as a kind of gamepad as well. Someone told me you need to go in and change the controls there a little bit different, in a different way. You need to tab and different things. I've not did that yet, and the reason is I'm not delving into this too much because I'll be clearing this image in a few days. I'll be putting this micro SD card back in one of my cameras, and I'll be using the 128GB card to set up a larger system with even more games. It's going to have about 5 times as many games as I've got here. More arcade games, more consoles. What you need to do is push select for insert coin. Select is a coin, and then you can start. For whatever reason, the volume's very low on this. You can see that. I don't know if that's the ROM or a setting. As I said, there's still some things I need to troubleshoot about. So like, I've managed to do this. This is the controls here. This is different options here because it's MAME. But the way to come out is the same. Hotkey, square. And again, when you set up your control in Emulation Station, if you use a different controller, you would choose a different button for the hotkey. And you can do different things as well. Like you could put select and right trigger as the hotkeys, so that you choose an option or different buttons that you would never choose, you would never hit whilst playing a game. So, if you're button bashing, you would, maybe playing a fighting game, you would do that, but you would never push select. So if you ever got a controller that doesn't have a PlayStation hotkey or anything like that, you could use select and L or 1 or, just mix things up like that. So I'll do some more videos on this. This was really just a quick look at the system, just give you an idea of how this all works. Neo Geo here. Right, one more game before I end. If you guys, if you like, let me see, King of Fighters. If you guys love classic games, if you love old school arcade games, if you're just looking for a way to play older games from consoles from the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, then I think buying a Raspberry Pi and putting on RetroPie onto it is a very good option. And I thought I was going to crash there. So, coins. Need to do that every time. Forget sometimes. can see I've not figured out the buttons on MAME yet. I'm just button bashing. So I'm going to come out of that. I really like how quick it is to actually come out of a game as well. You just hit the hotkey and then you're back at the main menu. Well, I'll just quickly show you. I've shown you Emulation Station, so check out my video if you want to get a better understanding of this area. But I'll just want to quickly show you when it loads up. So I'll restart the system. There's on this particular image, someone set up lots of different splash screens, and you know, so when it loads up, you get a different cool retro graphic and things, which you'll see just now. Booting up, so you get things like this, and there's ones with Sonic and Mario and things like that as well. It's quite cool. Now I've got this in my office just now, just so that I can show you guys that I'm sitting next to my computer with my microphone, etc. But this will be at home next to my main television in my living room, and I'll be sitting there with lots of controllers. I might buy some other controllers. I do have some other controllers to show you guys in a future video. But so far, I'm loving this. I really am loving RetroPie. It is amazing. And if you do love classic games from the 80s and 90s and whatnot, I highly recommend checking this out. You know, obviously we've got like the SNES Mini and all these things coming out, but from a gaming point of view, this is much better. And that's coming from someone who's ordered the SNES Mini. This is just more practical. There's more games. It's more versatile. And it really is impressive. So this has been a quick look at RetroPie, and you know, hopefully I've helped any of you guys get a better understanding of how you set it up and all that. I'm really impressed with it. If you've got any questions about it, please do ask me. I'm not an expert yet, but I'm going to try and learn more about it and, you know, become more knowledgeable about it. And I'll try and pass on any tips that I learn. I'll try and pass on to you guys. Thanks for watching. Please do post a comment if you've got any questions about it. And until next time, take care.